Nolan, good to see you. We're getting back to basics today with the in-service rollover. Should you really move your 401k? Once you reach 59 and a half, many workplace retirement plans allow for what's called an in-service rollover. Let's start with the basics. What is an in-service rollover?
Yeah, an in-service rollover, Erin, thanks for the question, is when somebody's working, in service is working. An in-service rollover is when they're working, taking money out of your employer-sponsored plan, whether that be a 401k, 403b, 457. There's all sorts of plans, but it's taking money out of that plan and moving it into an IRA. And age 59 and a half matters because that's when the IRS penalty of 10% falls off for early withdrawals. So if you were to take 401k money and move it into an IRA, then start to take income from it, the IRS no longer dings you 10% on that income. That's why 59 and a half matters.
And why would you want to move your money from a 401k to an IRA?
Yeah, so moving money from a 401k to an IRA just opens up a lot of different investment options to most folks. Within a 401k, you usually have like a limited mix of investment options. Oftentimes, it's difficult to find even dividend paying stocks. Like they'll often have growth and value stocks, but not usually like the blue chip ones that everybody likes. So if you're looking for maybe some consistent dividend producers, individual securities, gold and silver, or other types of commodities, 401ks don't usually facilitate that. And also, if you're taking money out of your account on an active basis, 401ks usually aren't built for that. They're not built for withdrawals.
Right. So before deciding whether an in-service rollover makes sense, you suggest looking at investment options, fees. What about access to advice?
Yeah, I think these are all really important things to look at. Obviously, we talked about investment options a little bit, but fees is number two. You want to always compare the costs of the old plan to whatever you move it over into, whether it's a retail IRA or an IRA with a financial advisor. It's important to understand cost difference between the two and that it's disclosed to you before you sign paperwork. So that's really important. I would say access to advice or other services provided. So our office in particular, we do the financial advising, but we also do Medicare, we do tax preparation. We'll even help facilitate a lot of estate planning through our office. So access to advice usually expands when you roll money from a 401k over into an IRA, as opposed to a 401k advisor who's typically only trying to get your money to grow as quickly as possible. Doesn't sound bad until you have special needs for that money, for sure.
Right, which usually happens as you creep closer to that retirement red zone. So, Nolan, then are there any downsides or risks that people don't realize when they roll money out of a 401k, especially when it comes to taxes, protections, or plan rules?
Yeah, there are for sure. And I just talked with somebody about one of these earlier this week, and we'll hit on both sides of this. So, some rules around taxes, protections, plan rules with 401ks in particular. We've talked about age 59 and a half, but some folks at age 55 do the rule of 55 where you start to take money out of your 401k prior to age 59 and a half. It's a special rule, but it's very nice because if you plan on early retirement and you take the money out of your 401k rather than an IRA, the 401k avoids that 10% penalty at the age of 55. So that's probably the first thing that a lot of people don't even know about. There's just something called the rule of 55 where you have provisions in your 401k for early access that you do not have with an IRA until 59 and a half. And then I think the other thing that's really important is on the back end, the other bookend for this conversation is RMDs. So required minimum distributions, or when you are over the age of 72, 73, 75 for some folks. If you're still working for that employer, you don't have to take an RMD out of these accounts. So if you have the 401k and you've got $1 million in it, if it's in an IRA, you have to take out 30 or 40 grand every year. If it's in 401k, as long as you're working, you can continue to defer that. So there are good reasons to keep money in a 401k, and I usually like to hit on those with folks too, just to make sure that those special situations don't apply, or if they do, you're at least limiting your exposure to them.
Yeah, really good points, Nolan. I'm really glad we had this conversation. Clearly, a lot of puzzle pieces that need to fit together. So if somebody wants to talk through whether an in-service rollover makes sense for them, what's the best way to reach you?
Sure. They can by phone at 616-301-2581 or our website, which is cornerstone-rp.com.
Great. Nolan, thank you.
Thanks, Erin.